Hey, welcome back to the Coin Box. It's been a while since I've been able to film and edit and upload shorts, and usually in my shorts I do unboxings or show pieces that I get that I've acquired recently. So I haven't done that in a while, so I thought I would just get rid of my backlog of shorts and just do one video and show a whole bunch of pieces I have acquired or added to my collection recently, within the last sometimes days, in some cases days, weeks, or months, all within this year. So I hope you enjoy it. It gives me an opportunity to show more variety in one video than I can usually do, especially if I'm tackling a specific topic, which I'm doing my series on the Omsas at the moment. So it's kind of cool to be able to do a video where I can just show a lot of different variety, and hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. So I'm not sure exactly where to start. I'll probably start over here with some of the more modern stuff and go from there. So some of these pieces here are pretty modern. So these are all 2003. I bought the series 2003 of 10, 20, 50. There's the 50 cents. Now you'd think that these would be fairly common. They're not that old, less than 20 years at this point. This is the 1 peso. But it's surprising, it can be surprisingly difficult to find these in uncirculated condition. I guess a lot of people just didn't hold on to them, hang on to them. And so it's kind of cool to be able to find them. And these are just pieces that I've purchased to fill holes in my albums that I'm missing. So for example, here are the 5s, and I'll go, I guess, in reverse order, because that's how they're stacked. So 2007, and these, interestingly enough, can get to be quite expensive for what they are. You'd think that 5 pesos, and not that old, would not be that expensive, but surprisingly they can be. But it's cool. I was able to get from different sellers and different sources. I was able to get many of the years I was missing in my album. So I won't show that today. I'll just show some of the ones I picked up recently, which are these, 2007. I'm going backwards here. Here's 2002. I'm not showing the obverse of them for the sake of time. Not everyone perhaps will enjoy all the pieces I'm showing, but hopefully there will be pieces, I know there will be pieces that everyone can enjoy. So even though these are modern, this is a very modern collection. The 5 pesos, and this is the post-1992 monetary reform. These are still the 5 pesos, the same design that's circulating today. Even though that's the case, they are not necessarily easy to find uncirculated in the series, to find the series in uncirculated condition. So I was happy to pick those up. And then if we go look at the 10s, so I got a whole stack of 1992s, and these have silver. So this was the first year of issue after the monetary reform. These have a 1/6 of an ounce of silver each. They're all in very, very lovely condition. I got 92s. I got a stack of 93s as well. So very pretty coins. I love this design of the 10 peso. Again, it's the same design we still have, except that now it does not have silver. It just had silver from 92, 93, 94, which I did not get any of right now, but 95s as well. And these 95s especially, I would say, have really increased in value recently, probably because of the demand on the 1995 sets. So that affects all the coins within the set. So the 1995 coins have all increased in value, and these are all very, very pretty coins. And then again, more modern, more recent ones, 2005. These are no longer silver, but again, pretty hard to find in uncirculated condition. You can find these all day circulated. They're not that easy to find, interestingly enough, in BU or uncirculated condition. So 2005, 2006. Then I have some, these probably won't be in order, some 20s. And the 20 peso series was a series that I took quite a while to start collecting. I'm not sure why. I guess just everyone's after the 20 pesos. So I just kind of put it off. And that was Octavio Paz, and this is another Octavio Paz. There's 2000, and then 2001 and 2010. I just put it off until more recently. Then I finally decided, you know what, I should try to get the ones I'm missing. I just got this one in yesterday, I want to say. So again, this is probably one of the more expensive ones, one of the harder ones to get. At least one of the ones that there's more demand for. I wouldn't say it's hard to get. It's not necessarily hard to get. It's just more pricey. This one, which is the Belisario Dominguez, and the Toma de Zacatecas, which is this one here. Both of those are probably the ones with the two most demand. The non-silver 20 peso coins with the most demand currently in the market. And then these also, I should clarify, these also have the Fuego Nuevos, there's a 2000, and there's a 2001. And then I'm going backwards here in time, but this is a 1993 20 pesos, which again was part of that monetary reform coinage in 1992, 93. There are no 92s of this one. This one started, so this is the first year issue of the 20, 93, 94, and of course the 95, which is near impossible to get now at a decent price. They just have skyrocketed and can continue to increase, surprisingly. It's one of those coins that I just keep putting off because I think they'll come down somehow in price, and they just keep going up. Probably from the point where I had the opportunity to buy one until now, they have probably maybe tripled in price. So I will continue to put it off, I guess. This is a 94, 50 pesos again, with a half-ounce silver center. I really like these, not only because they are bimetallic, and that's kind of special, but because they were unique in the sense that there were no silver, as far as I know, no more silver circulating coinage in the world at that time. These were the only coins worldwide that were circulation coinage that contained silver, the 10, the 20, and the 50 in Mexico from about 1992 to 1995. So this is a 93 here that I also acquired recently. Next up, let's take a look at some sets that I also got recently. This one's special for several reasons. One, I really like this style. So it's cardboard. You can see both sides of the coins, but they are not exposed. This is similar to those, like a Dansko album, where you have this sheet, transparent sheet that you can pull out. So you can replace the coins, but then they also acquire over time a nice, album style toning, which is very pretty. The other reason this one's special is that this is a 1956 set. Now there's no 1956 peso, so they put in a 1958. But the other coins, there are some key dates here in the 1956. The 50 centavo Cuauhtémoc is a key date, 1956, as is the 10 centavo Juárez. And the other ones are also not common, so they are not the key dates of the series, but they are nice coins. And I like this style. I wish there were more sets like this. In fact, I would like to eventually look into making some, perhaps myself, making custom sets like this. And I like that the coins are protected, but you can still see and enjoy both sides of the coin. So those are pretty special. Then I got this one here, which are pretty common coins. What I thought was interesting about this one is the toning on these. And I don't generally care for toning on copper coins. You want copper to be as red as possible, but if they are toned, I prefer them. I mean, it's pretty cool that they have these kind of colors. Look at that toning on this 10 centavos coin. I mean, that's just rainbow toning. Some of these have less toning. This one is also very pretty. This is the 20 centavos, 1960. So I thought that was kind of interesting that you don't often see copper coins toned with this many colors. And I've seen photos of some, but it was just kind of cool to get in a random set like this. Again, most people would probably prefer all of these to be nice bright red, but the toning on those is pretty spectacular for what it is. And then just random sets like these that are kind of fun to get, that don't always have the same year of the coins in them, but They're just kind of pretty, kind of nice. I've shown these before on the channel. I just got another one of these. I really like these. Again, the coins are protected, they're sealed, you can enjoy both sides of the coin. And then this one comes with a stamp as well, which is really neat, 1964 and 1965. I also got a 1 centavo set here. Now this is not the complete series, and the reason for that is probably because this was put together probably in 1966, 1967 perhaps, but they had not finished the series. So it just runs from 1950 to 1966, even though the series ran in this size up until 1969, and then 3 more years, 70, 71, 70, 72, excuse me, and 73 in the smaller reduced size. That's still kind of cool. And then this is the same style. So these are in cardboard within a plastic envelope or sleeve. And there's silver down here. So these are just kind of neat sets that I picked up. This is it's not really a sealed set, but it's still kind of cool. This is the full mint set, I guess you could say, of 1992. So this is the monetary reform coinage, the new designs that came out, the 5, 10, 20, 50, and then the pesos 1, 2, 5, and the silver core 10 pesos there. So that was kind of cool to get them all together in uncirculated condition. And speaking of sets, you may know, and I've said on the channel before, that I have the complete lineup of these sets. So the full series except the 1996 and of course the 1995. Now unfortunately I still do not have the 1995, but I was able to finally get a 1996. So my series is that much closer to being complete. And this has, of course, the 200 pesos with the World Cup design, which is pretty popular. And several of these coins from 1986 are sought after and kind of key dates. And anyway, not an impossible set to get, but for whatever reason, I was missing this one and I got it. And I also, from the same seller, he was a private seller that sold off his collection of sets. It's a long story and I won't tell it now, but I was close to getting the 1995. I did not end up getting it, so I'm still missing the 1995 set, but I did get several of these sets with amazing, beautiful toning. Now, I don't know how well you can see that on the camera, hopefully pretty well, but these are just beautiful, beautiful toning. These are silver, once again, and the colors, they're uncirculated, but then the colors themselves are just, look at that, they're beautiful. Now, I don't always enjoy toning, but when it's smooth, somewhat even, and beautiful colors, I can enjoy it. So that was 94. We're going down here. This is 93. The 94 set has also increased quite a bit. All of these have increased in value recently, or in recent years, I should say. And yeah, look at that. It's just really pretty how it just is a crescent kind of toning there. And on both sides, I really like these sets for that reason. Once again, the coins are nice and protected away from fingerprints, but they can acquire. They don't always acquire toning like this. These are pretty unique in that regards. My other ones do not have this kind of toning. This is again the series of 1992 coins. This one also has some lovely toning. I will have to get good images of these, especially the toned coins. And if you don't follow me on Instagram yet, be sure and follow La Caja de Moneda / the Coin Box on Instagram, where I post images, photos, videos of coins that I have. Most of the ones, most of the time, it's coins I've shown in a video or in the topic of a video. But I was able to get this 1990. So follow if you haven't followed on Instagram yet. Again, this 1992, I had one. This is also one of the tougher ones to get. I believe this 1992, the 500 peso, which is the one that really everyone's after in this set. This one I think is prettier than the one I had before. Look at that. It also has this very colorful, smooth toning to it. And the other one I have, I feel like has maybe a few more bag marks than this one. This one's just very, very pretty. Again, all these, even the 1,000 peso is not, I believe the 1992 is somewhat of a key date on that series. So I picked these up as well. And finally, this one is I would say my favorite. I just cannot believe the toning on the 100 pesos. It's just one of the prettiest coins, I would say, one of the prettiest toned coins I have ever seen. And again, I'm not sure how well that will show up in camera, and I will have to eventually get good, high quality, high resolution images of this coin. And hopefully I can do it justice and show off the colors. But it is a beautiful, beautiful coin, beautiful toned coin. Look at this side. I mean, that's just amazing. This coin alone was worth the price of the whole set. But it was, yeah, I think this is probably the most beautiful toning I have on any coin I own. And again, if you'd like to see images of these coins in the future, I don't know when exactly I'll get around to it, but be sure and subscribe to, well, obviously the channel if you aren't already, but also check out the, here's the COA, check out the Instagram. So this is a set which when they first came out, people were paying, I won't say crazy prices, but a lot of money for them. And I ended up getting this set for probably $100, I will say less than I would have paid when they first came out. So I really like this series. They all celebrate an anniversary, the 200th anniversary of Mexico's independence, and then the 500th memory of Tenochtitlan, and 700th of the founding of Mexico City, the lunar founding, 700 years. So this design by far is my favorite. I really like this design. But anyway, I was able to pick up this 3-coin proof set, and they have the 20 peso coins that kind of go, the bimetallic 20 peso coins that kind of go along with this set, which is kind of cool. And then some other recent ones I've picked up. This is a 1992 Encuentro de dos mundos. So the encounter of two worlds there, the old and the new. And it has its COA. That's the 92. This is the 91. This one has a sleeve. So same design. They were just issued in 1991 and 1992. I was able to get both of them, not at the same time, but both recently, which is why I have them both here, 1991, 1992. Again, a cool design with the, similar to the pillar dollar coins. So they have the pillar dollars, the pillars of Hercules, I believe it is, with some ships and the old world and the new world, and different coats of arms there, coat of arms on the back. So again, 2 cool coins there. And then here's another, trying to get through the sets here. Here's one that I found interesting because it's a copper or brass, I believe, or bronze perhaps. I don't know. Sorry, I should have looked that up. It comes in its little case. There's a whole series of medals minted for, with this México Esplendor de 30 siglos. This one says New York 1990. And there was a whole series of silver and bronze, I believe, medals with different designs. So I won't get into all of that right now. It's, I think, for an exposition that they had in New York and maybe in different cities actually throughout the U.S. I think there's some San Antonio and other ones as well. But what's kind of cool about this is that Mexico, the Mexican Mint has throughout the years done collaborations with different countries or featured symbols from other countries on their coinage or on their medals, mostly medals, I would say. I've shown the 1979 Israel-Mexico medal, and I'm going to show some just now that wasn't a collaboration, but still, it's kind of cool to see that link between countries. And it's something I wish the U.S. Mint would do a little more, especially with Mexico. There hasn't really been a collaboration that I'm aware of, between the U.S. Mint and the Mexican Mint. They have done somewhat of a collaboration with, in a set with Canada and with the Britannia, but I don't think a set's ever been put together with Mexico, or a coin or a design that a collaboration between the two countries. So I feel like that's something that would be cool to see. Here's a ship which you may have seen in the news recently. So this is the Cuauhtémoc, Buque Cuauhtémoc, and it's used to train cadets in the Mexican Marines. And unfortunately, it collided recently with the Brooklyn Bridge, I believe it was, in New York. But still kind of a cool design. Ships are always cool on coins, and it has this little stand that you can set up, and it's COA. So I just got that one in as well. And let's see here. Let's do this. Well, let's do this one here. So this one comes with its brown velvet case and a really neat pamphlet in several languages. And this is a trimetallic medal, which again, for whatever reason, I just wasn't that attracted to trimetallic medals until I actually, more recently, I decided I got this one for a good price, and it was a pretty design. So I bought it, and when I got it in hand, that's where I really appreciated the 3 different medals. I like how you have 3 different spaces to use for the design, which they did. They put different things in each space. So that's the Kukulkan Pyramid in Chichen Itza in Yucatan, Mexico, which I have not been to. Maybe, hopefully someday I'll make it there. But still, a very pretty medal. I have another trimetallic one I'll show, but I believe it's different combinations, right? But the outside is brass, and then copper nickel, and then another brass in the center. So another similar one, just it's a different color because of the amount of zinc in it, the percentages. But here's another one that comes. It's kind of neat how it comes with its capsule with the COA. So it's trimetallic. I believe the same size as the other one I just showed. And this one is the 200th anniversary of the start, I want to say. Yeah, 1810. The start of the Bicentenario of the independence. So that's Miguel Hidalgo there. And it is really pretty. It is really pretty to have the 3 medals combined. I don't know if other countries do this or not, but Mexico has had bimetallic coinage since the 90s, and now issuing these trimetallic medals is kind of pretty. And this one, it's pretty. Hopefully you think it's pretty, but it's really pretty in hand as well. I actually enjoyed getting it. Now, speaking of other countries. I have a couple non-Mexican pieces which I got recently. So this one was actually, by mistake, the seller, I bought a small Mexican coin, and I received this 1/10 silver Balboa from Panama, 1947 instead, and it was not worth the shipping either for the seller or for me to try to replace it. So we just both agreed to stick with what we had done. So I kept this one instead of the other coin. The prices were comparable, so I didn't lose out anything. And it's a cool design, and it's silver, so I can't argue with that. So I went ahead and kept it. And then this one I showed recently in a short, my most recent short on the channel. This is a 1 ounce silver channel round from T the Silver Stacker, which I received recently, which he kindly sent to me for free. Cool design, and something that I just think it's really cool to have your own design minted, whatever that design is. So maybe something that I would definitely like to look into getting something like that done someday, whether it be for the channel or just, you know, a Mexican themed design. I think would be really cool. And here are some 1 centavos. Again, I have these stacked in reverse, so maybe I'll just do it like this. It doesn't matter. I guess we'll go backwards here. So this is a 1916, which is a key date. I think, I could be wrong, but it might have the lowest mintage of the 1 centavo monogramma series. And this one was not too bad of a shape. I did not have the 1916. So I was happy to pick this one up, add that to the collection. And I've shown these before. The 1915 1 centavo Zapata issue. But what I have not shown, and I did not own before, was the normal sized 1950 1 centavo. So you can see the size difference there between the two coins. And this smaller, reduced size seems to be more popular. More people are after it. There seems to be more demand for it. It tends to be more expensive. But oddly enough, the large size, at least in my case, was much harder to get, much harder to find. They're not that common, and I was happy to pick this one up in pretty decent condition. So this is the large size 1 centavo, and even I believe Coins and Prices also lists it as more expensive than the small size. It's just for whatever reason the small size, I guess because of the history and it being connected to Zapata, has a lot more demand. And then here are two 1901 and 1903 1 centavo Culiacan. So there's a little C. I don't know if you can see a little C under the wreath there. So there are, usually there's an M, which is the Mexico mint. This is the Culiacan mint. So these are, you know, relatively rare or high demand key date issues as well. So I was happy to get those. And then here are some 10 centavos, which I picked up. This is the 1905, which I believe is the first year of the monetary reform. Again, the 1905 monetary reform. This one's not in amazing condition, but it was one that I was missing. Again, I'm filling holes in my collection, in my album, and surprisingly, I was able to get this for just $1. So it's not an amazing condition, but for the price, I am very happy with it. So we have a 1905, a 1907, which this one has a little toning to it, but it is in very nice condition. 1907. These early date ones can be harder to find, especially in good condition, and sometimes can get kind of expensive. So once again, this is a 1909. And I don't believe I've shown any of these on the channel before. So if you happen to have seen some of these in one of my videos, I apologize, but most of these are very recent acquisitions or purchases, so I don't think I've shown any of these on the channel before. This is a 1910. What's interesting about this, I haven't studied it enough, so I can't claim this for sure, but it seems like all 1910s are the overdates. So the 1 over the 0, basically. The second one is over a 0. That might not be the case, but it sure seems like it. I got several of these. They all have, in one way or another, some form or another, have the 0 visible underneath. Now, if you send it in for grading, you might not always get the variety attribution, but it sure seems like they all are that way. So I apologize. These are all in reverse order. That was not my intention. But this is 1933. Again, now this is the 20 centavo series, which I was missing some, and that one has some, it's worn a little bit, but it has some nice toning to it. 1930, dates I was missing. 1912, again, these are not the prettiest condition or the nicest condition, but they are a key date. So the 1912 is a key date. And it's kind of one of those coins where my collecting philosophy is the more common the coin is, the more picky and strict you should be on good condition. And the more rare a coin is, the more lenient you can be in terms of how nice it actually is. So again, the 1908, a key date. I didn't check the mintages just now, but it's pretty low mintage, I believe, and a key date. Pretty worn, but again, I got it for a good price because of the condition, but it was still better than what I would normally pay for that condition, it being a key date and all. So this is a 1907 as well. And then we move on to the 50 centavos. Again, first year of issue. This one's pretty ugly, I would say. Hopefully I can replace it with a nicer one soon, but since I was missing it, again, I got a good deal on it. I went ahead and purchased it. This is a 1914, a lot nicer. A date I was missing. Someday maybe I'll show the full albums of the full series once I complete them. Some are close to completion, some I just replace as I go. I replace the coins I already have with newer, nicer ones, which is why I keep getting sometimes the same date on some of them. So this is a 1942, very common. What I liked about this one, it has a very soft bluish yellow, again, I don't know how well that's going to show up, but a bluish yellow toning around the edge, and it is in very nice frosty white condition. 1940 also tends to be a date that tends to be hard to get in nice condition, so I picked this one up. I already had one, but I got one again in nice condition. This 1933 is just phenomenal. Look how, it's not quite proof-like, but it just has such a beautiful, beautiful luster to it. You can see that it just shines, and the fields look. I really like when the devices are frosted. You know, the design is more frosted and creates contrast with the fields. So the fields are not quite proof-like here, but there's just enough to create that separation between the design and the fields, which creates a very beautiful look. This is a 1924, so it seems like all the 20s of the series of the 1 peso are tougher to find in nice condition. So this was really nice to pick up, a 1924 with a nice luster to it still, and same goes with the 1923. So those are the 1 peso coins I picked up. Let me go ahead and show this series here. So I showed several coins just now from the 1905 monetary reform, and this is a series. So that's the theme of this design here. And this is another series that had to do with anniversaries in 2005, and a series which I had not purchased yet, a series which is very pretty. These are silver, it's 3 coins, and I've shown on the channel before their bimetallic counterparts, which were 100 peso circulation coins with silver cores. These were issued for the collector, so I had the 10 peso already. I've shown that on the channel, and I collect coins and medals, just Mexican mint issues with the coin press, with this style of coin press, the screw press, which I really think is cool. So I already owned this one, but I went ahead and got it again. I got it at a good price, and I'll end up keeping the nicer of the two. I haven't really compared them yet. But anyway, this is the 5 peso. This is a ½ ounce of silver 5 peso, which celebrates the 100th anniversary of the monetary reform from 1905 to 2005. That's a 5 peso. And then the 10 peso celebrates the 470th anniversary of the Mexican mint from 1535 to 2005. So these were issued in 2005. This is a 1 ounce silver proof finish. This is a 2 ounce, and this is the 20 peso, 1925 to 2005. It's the 80th anniversary of the Bank of Mexico, and that has the 100 peso bill, which is near impossible to get, I believe. And if you're into Mexican currency, and even if you're not, if you'd like to explore Mexican currency, I'll leave a link to a video here with a really cool temporary exhibit of Mexican currency that I'm sure you'll enjoy. And I believe that this bill is pretty much impossible to get. I think you can get them specimens, and even these specimens are pretty impossible. So it's kind of cool that they used this design on this 2 ounce 80th anniversary Bank of Mexico coin. So that's the 20 peso coin. So I just got these. What's interesting about this one, I had already purchased this 10 peso one. As I said, I was missing the 5 and the 20, and so I had written down, I usually do my research and written down what they go for. I'll just tell very briefly a story on this one, because it sometimes pays to wait, you know. I finally saw this listed, and it was a little higher than I wanted to pay, but I saw it listed, so I went ahead and purchased it. And the description was that it was immaculate, it was perfect condition. So there was only a picture of the reverse, so I claimed it. And later the seller sent me or uploaded the picture of the obverse, and it was not bad at all. It was nice, except there was a little mark that I could see, and then there was a little something that I couldn't tell if it was maybe a fingerprint or a mark or something. So all I did was ask. I said, hey, you know, is that a mark or what's going on there? Because I didn't say this, but at this price, I was really only interested if it was close to immaculate, you know, in great condition. So oddly enough, the seller never answered me, and either he forgot or just figured I didn't want it anymore once I saw the other side. So about a couple weeks later, I saw he listed it again, and he listed it for like $50 less than he had listed it originally. So I would have jumped at that price, but of course, a lot of other people jumped at the price, and he sold it to somebody else. So I didn't even make it stink about that or anything. I just thought it was kind of interesting. Like I feel like he should have offered it to me if he was going to offer it at a discounted price anyway, why didn't he offer it to me at a discounted price? I don't know, but he didn't. Anyway, long story short, because it's long story long at this point, this one I ended up getting for less than even the discounted price that I would have gotten it from this other seller, and I think it's immaculate enough for me. It's pretty, you can see some marks, but I believe those are mostly on the capsule itself. So sometimes it pays to be patient, do your research, and not sometimes, it does. It pays to be patient, do your research, and figure out what you want to get before just buying the first one that comes along. This is I think is a really cool coin. There are those who say this coin changed the course of history, not this coin, but the history of this coin. So these were minted in the New World, you know, in Mexico, the Spanish mint, and there was this ship called El Cazador, which they shipped in 1883, a whole bunch of these silver pieces of 8 they were headed to Louisiana, I believe. So I should have refreshed on this story before doing the video. So if I get the details wrong, I'll do a video maybe later on it, or I'm sure it's very well known at this point. Long story short, the ship sank. It was lost until the 90s, I believe, and they recovered a whole bunch of its cargo. But because it sank, the Spanish kind of lost control of that region, sold it to the French, and the French obviously eventually sold it to the U.S. as part of the Louisiana purchase. So it shipped from Mexico. It didn't quite make it to its destination, which I don't recall exactly where its destination was, but it didn't make it. It sank about 50 miles off the coast. And so anyway, this is a shipwreck coinage. It's Mexican coinage. It's rediscovered treasure. So there's pretty high demand for these, and just a really cool, not only coin, but history behind it as well, and how a Spanish-Mexican coin affected even American history. And it just being a shipwreck coin is just cool for that fact, you know. Here's another graded coin which I got because look at that reverse there. Now that, when I saw it listed, I thought, man, if hopefully the obverse is as proof-like, because that's the most proof-like I have seen, the most proof-like finish I have seen on any of these Morelos coins. Most of the time, it seems like when people say it's proof-like, there's not that contrast I was talking about between the frosty design, the devices, and the mirror finish fields. It seems like it's all kind of mirror finish. I don't care for that as much. It's still cool if it's proof-like. What really catches my eye and what I think is cool is the contrast between the fields, and you can see there, look at my finger. You can see how it's very reflective there and not reflective on Morelos himself. So that is a mirror finish for you, if there ever was one. Unfortunately, and I knew this when I bought it, unfortunately the obverse, excuse me, is not proof-like. So this would not get a proof-like designation if it was sent in for grading, because both obverse and reverse have to be proof-like. But it's still really cool. This is an Annex MS64. This is, I believe, the only Annex coin, graded coin I own. But it's still, I don't care if it's just the reverse. It's pretty special. I have not seen any other ones like this. Now, there are proof-likes, and I shouldn't say that. Maybe there is one, NGC has one graded, at least one proof-like. But again, I'm not sure it has this, I'll have to look it up, has this contrast between the design and the fields, and that's what I really like on these. Now, speaking of proof-like, here's a medal which is very popular. This is the 1962, even though it says 1862 on the medal itself. That was the Battle of Puebla. This is issued 100 years later, 1962. This one is proof-like on both sides of the medal, but I wouldn't hold my breath sending it into NGC because, spoiler alert, I did send one that did not get the proof-like designation. And it's about as proof-like as this one. So it's kind of a coin flip, a coin toss to see if NGC will grade it. But these are two I got in recently, and you can see the difference there between the proof-like one and the BU Brilliant uncirculated one. So this one also is in great condition, very nice condition. But I just wanted to show the difference between the finish, how this one really looks like a proof compared to this one here. Same goes with the other side. This one's a little toned as well, so it might not be as noticeable because the white frostiness of the devices is a little tampered down, but the fields are definitely mirrored as well. So that's in terms of proof-like coinage. This is not a proof-like. This is an actual proof. 1990 Libertad, which I got, whoops. Outside it's box and COA, so I got a little cheaper, but still a good price even for being, and I got it at a good price even for being outside of its, without its OGP. This is an 1883 Libertad, which are relatively common, but the toning on this is pretty crazy. I don't know if NGC or PCGS would grade this straight grade or if they would say that's artificial toning. I don't really care, honestly. I believe this is from rubber bands, so it might be artificial. I just thought it was really kind of crazy and kind of cool at the same time. I believe because I bought several of these and it didn't come with the rubber bands on them, but I could tell by this type of toning on the other ones that someone had put a rubber band around them and just stored them for probably several years like that. And yeah, that's rubber band toning for you there. The last Libertad here I'll show. This one is a 1/2 ounce. I don't really collect the newer Libertads. I have some of the key dates, 98. I don't even have this 97 or 99 at this point. But, so I definitely don't even collect the 1/2 ounce runs, you know, the fractionals, I should say. But this one caught my eye because of its toning. I probably won't keep this. I'll probably sell it eventually, but very, very pretty purple toning on this 1/2 ounce 2003 Libertad. Now, hopefully you all aren't bored out of your minds at this point. Hopefully you're enjoying these pieces I'm showing. This is again, 400th and 70th anniversary, similar to this one. This is a coin issued the same year. This is the medal. There are several different medals and coins issued to celebrate these anniversaries. Again, it's somewhat cut off, but it does have the coin press there and different a different design here, the different eagle. It says the Republic of Mexico. So, an interesting design. There's a bronze version of this, which I do not own yet, which hopefully I'll get. There's a little one, which I do own, which I didn't pull out because it's, the point of this video isn't to show all my collection, even though it's a lot of coins at this point, or medals. But there's a smaller version, a brass token that with that same design. This one is a 1 ounce. I've shown this on the channel again before. This is the Piedra de los Soles, the sunstone. And what's special about this one is that this is the 0.925 version right there. There's a 0.999, which is far more common. This is the 0.925. I already own one of these. I picked up another one. I actually don't recall exactly where I got this or when I got it at this point, but it is a recent addition. And then this one, they say, I don't know, I don't have any kind of, I haven't looked into it, but they say is part of the same issue of this series of the Sunstone series. So it doesn't have anything on this side, it's just blank. And on this side it has the Sunstone. I believe it's 1/10 of an ounce of silver. I can't tell if I'm holding it right side up or upside down there. There we go. So it's really cool. I like the design. It's got a little toning around the edge, and it's cool to have something so small with such an intricate, detailed design. So that's pretty special. Here's another medal which I just picked up. So this is the anniversary of, I believe it's of the Legaria mint. So that'd be the 14th anniversary with Morelos, a very similar bust to the one we just saw on the 100 peso coins, this one here. So not exactly the same bust, but very similar. It would have been cool if it was exactly the same bust. Mexico tends to do that. It kind of reuses designs and repurposes them on different metals, and I think that's really cool. Then you can kind of find the different metals and different issues with the exact same bust or design or theme, and so that's pretty cool. So I just picked this one up, and here's a cool not only coin but story, which again hopefully I'll do a video on, so I won't get into detail. But this is Anguilla, July 11th, 1967. The Republic of Anguilla, I believe, only lasted for a couple years. But what they did was, they didn't mint their own coinage. They took silver coinage from around the world. So there's American coins. I've seen Chinese, Mexican, probably Panamanian. I don't know the full gamut of which coins they used, but they would stamp them, counterstamp them with Anguilla, July 11th, 1967, and call them Liberty dollars. It's interesting because they don't all contain the same amount of silver. I guess they just needed to have some silver, and they would counterstamp it, and that was their currency. And at least that was the hope, that would be their currency for a while. I don't believe I don't know, actually, I should look into this if there are any stamped 1968. But I believe, I have only seen this date, July 11th, 1967. So even though they were stamped in 68, maybe, potentially stamped later on, maybe they just used the same stamp. So what's interesting is if you took a picture of this and this one you can see a little more clearly. So this is the 1948 Cuauhtémoc 5 peso, which is silver, has silver content, and this is the 10 pesos, 1953 Miguel Hidalgo Laurel coin. So if you took a picture of this and upload it, would you post it like that or like that? This one's a little even more upside down. So this one, would you post it like that? Which is right side up, like that or like that? You can let me know in the comments below how you think that should be posted. So here are a couple with that same coin that I just added recently. This one again has kind of this frosted, or the nice contrast between the fields. Very nice condition, the fields and the design. This one has some really kind of pretty toning to it. These are 1948. A little more key date would be the 1947, but still just pretty colors and pretty toning for a really cool design of the Cuauhtémoc design. Again, I talked about how they use the same design across different coinage. Well, this effigy or bust of Cuauhtémoc you can find on medals and on different Mexican coinage throughout the years. So here's some cool older, we'll look at these, the 1921 2 pesos. I got two really nice ones. Now, neither one are in spectacular condition, but these, you know, for whatever reason, the obverse, the eagle here, you can usually find, it's much easier to find in really nice condition. In fact, it seems like no matter what the grade of the coin is, this side of the coin, the eagle will always be prettier, have nice luster, not that much wear and tear. On this side of the fields, especially all around the angel, will just be all beaten up. So this one was above average, I should say, and so I picked it up. I have several of these, and this is what some call the original Libertad. This is the angel design, which was used later on the Libertad in 1982. This was 1921, and as you probably know, this is the only, I believe still the only Mexican coin with Roman numerals here as the date. So celebrating the 100th anniversary of Mexico's independence there, 1821 to 1921. So again, this side is just pretty brilliant and has some nice luster to it. And on this side we have, it's nice, but I don't know if this would even be graded. If I did send it in for grading, it might get, this side, I don't know if it would just be attributed to wear, normal wear, or if they would call this clean, since there's such a difference between sides. The wear is not even. It's not the same on the obverse as it is on the reverse. So I don't know about that. This one is a Caballito 1911, and when I saw a picture of it, I thought it was very pretty toning, and I still think so, although I will say that once I got it in hand, it doesn't have much luster to it. I believe if you look closely, it may have even been cleaned, and then the toning, you know, was toned over the cleaning. So still an interesting classic coin with interesting color to it, and one that I was missing in this date. I haven't really tried that hard to collect the Caballito dates. It's kind of one of those coins where I'm kind of content just to have one nice one. And I do. I have a fairly decent 1913, which is neither here nor there on the dates themselves, but it's pretty enough. And this is, I believe, the most common, the date 1910, and it's not too bad. Again, I got it for a decent price, and the condition was decent enough that I went ahead and picked it up. In 1910 Caballito. We're, again, hopefully you're not bored to death, but we're wrapping things up here slowly but surely. If you've enjoyed the video this far and you've enjoyed some of the pieces, or if you just enjoy the channel in general, be sure and subscribe, leave a like, and leave a comment below on this video, and I will definitely appreciate that. So this is a 2006, a tiny coin from, it's a series, oh man, what is that? I forget, it's Malawi. Yeah, so that's Queen Elizabeth. On this side, it is tiny. It's 1/25th, if I can read that, 1/25th of an ounce. So I showed it 1/10 of an ounce, and that the 1/10 of an ounce dwarfs the 1/25th of an ounce here. But I got this one because it's a series that they call investment coins of the world. So it actually is a coin because it does have a denomination, I believe. It's like 6 or 5 kwacha. Anyway, this one has the coin press, the Mexican onza. So it says 1949, has the Mexican onza, features the Mexican onza. They have, I believe, the maple leaf, the American silver eagle, the Libertad, different ones. Actually, by a misfortune, the seller was selling both this one and the Libertad, and I was only able to get this one by a mistake of my own, not the seller's, but I'll move on from that. And this is the 1949 onza shown on that little mini coin that I have. So there's some marks on this capsule which doesn't let us see super well. Maybe I can pop it off. There we go. This one has really pretty toning to it. And I did, if you haven't seen my video on the 1949 onsa, again, I'll leave a link up here. The history of this metal or coin-like metal onsa, it's not a metal, not a coin, it's an onsa, but it's pretty fascinating. It was the first of its kind. It's one of one in the world. And so I'm working through with a series. I did 1949. I just, not too long ago, uploaded 1978. So neither one of those years have really very many varieties to them. The history is really cool on both of those years. But really, the ones that are up next, the 1979. So here's a 1979, which this side is not that pretty, but this side I thought had much prettier toning to it. So the 1979s and the 1980s definitely have more varieties, more recognized varieties, and more varieties which I will share with you. I don't want to say announced or discovered, but some pretty cool ones that I discovered for myself, at least. Actually, I skipped over this Libertad when I was showing the Libertads. Sort of trying to go by theme here. This one is just a 2002, nothing too special about it except the color. I also enjoy the toning on it. It has some pretty nice toning. It has some marks on it, but the toning I thought was pretty. Look at this side here. So do you enjoy toned coins? Let me know in the comments below if you enjoy toned coins. And I guess it might depend. Some people say yes, but then they're a little picky about what they consider to be pretty toning, which I agree. I would probably fall into that camp. I enjoy toned coins, but they have to be pretty to my liking for me to actually enjoy them. Oh, here's the last, since we're doing the onsas. Here's the last onsa. And this one I wanted to show because besides the fact that I got it recently, it has a proof-like finish to it. So it's got a lot of little marks on it, which don't help because it kind of it marks that the reverse, the field. Sorry, not the reverse. But I can definitely show you, like here. Look how mirrored that is. So sometimes it'd be hard to show the mirroring effect in images, whether they be photos or video. But this, you can see how it's not as reflective on the press itself, or even on my finger does not reflect the same on the coin press or on the date and the inscriptions as it does in the fields. The only downside to this one is the marks right there that someone kind of, not sure why, for what reason, but it seems like somebody kind of scratched it maybe and marked it up, which is very unfortunate because both sides of this onsa have highly reflective fields, which is really cool. This is not that common when it comes to onsas. So this one's pretty special. I wish it didn't have so many. I don't know what those are exactly. Just bag marks or just friction from handling, or what that is exactly, because the coin itself is not in terrible condition. But I will say that sometimes the mirror finish comes from an over polished die itself, which gives it the mirror finish. So that could also be part of it. I'm not sure. I also got a whole bunch of these. I bought a pretty large lot of these first day issue envelopes, which I really like. I really enjoy them. They're not official, Bank of Mexico issues or anything like that, but they do have a stamp which is over the flap of the envelope, which is sealed. So I'll show you here. And it has a dated stamp of the 9th of January of 1967. And the coin, this one has kind of, I don't want to say proof-like because I don't want to overuse that term, but it's compared to this one, you can see how this one's not as contrasty. I always like it when there's more contrast rather than less. So it's got the coin, the stamp, the seal on the envelope, and it was just cool to get a whole bunch of these. That coin was, minted, and soon after it was minted, placed in this envelope, and hasn't left since. That's kind of cool. Here's an old 8 real, which I've got to be honest, looked better in the images online, because I purchased this one online, than when I got it, but it's still not too bad for being, as old as it is. It's just a little hazy. It's got that spot on it, but for what these are, these 8 reals, it's not too bad. It's not in too bad of a condition. This here is a 1992 100 peso coin, which was minted, I believe, as part of a UN wildlife conservation series, and which is that kind of logo right there. And you may think this is a dolphin. It's not. It's a vaquita porpoise. And I believe when this was minted in 1992, these were already endangered, I believe. And I think there were hundreds still in the wild in 1992. I want to say over 500, maybe even more than 1,000, maybe thousands. But I don't think that many. But the point I'm making is that right now I did a quick search, and apparently in the last survey they calculate, or there were between 6 and 8 sightings. So they calculate there are less than 10 of them left in the wild, which is kind of sad. But that is a vaquita, which means little cow. I would assume because of the rounded snout, not as pointy as dolphin snouts, but still a cool coin. Into 1992, and they are still alive, although just barely. Here is a 2006 Copa Mundial, so the World Cup in Germany in 2006, and they have this what they call jugador de pelota, so probably Aztec or Mayan athlete. They had this sport, and actually I showed this trimetallic metal, so that's what this ring is. The inner ring, right in the center, is that, which is why it has the circle there. This is the ring that the goalpost, so to speak, of this game. So it's this thing right here, and they would hit that ball, that rubber ball through. Again, the capsule's kind of doesn't let us see it super well, but it's nice condition. I did not have this one. There's a whole bunch of kind of random coins and metals which I haven't owned, and so when I see one in good condition, if I can afford it, I'll try to pick it up. But this one's kind of standalone, I believe. I don't think there are. I don't know. I should look that up if there are other issues issued in 2006 to commemorate the World Cup in Germany. But this is kind of a cool design, and it's reminds us of the 1968 Olympic design, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. Again, there's the player with the court behind him, and this one is the lower middle ring variety. So the Olympic rings are some that are straight there, and then there are some, you can see that, where the center ring is lower, and then on the obverse, the snake's tongue is curved instead of straight. So there are three prominent, there are more than three, but there are three well-known or prominent varieties, and the one with the low rings and the curved tongue is the least common of the three. So we're wrapping up here. I'll very quickly show this is just a blank token, which is kind of cool. That size would be used to mint these. I have this full series now of 1980s. This is number 10 in the series. Just that one was really nice condition. This is a 2015 480th anniversary of the Mexican Mint, the Casa de Moneda. And again, speaking of that collection, the ongoing collection I have of coin press themed coins and metals, here's a 1990 token issued because of the Cervantino, which is a festival, and this is in Monterrey, Nuevo León. Here's an off-center, a mint error off-center strike, 10 centavos, 1978. Again, the errors, Mexican errors in the Mexican coin errors in the 70s, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s are fairly common, which is good and bad. They're not pricey, but you can which is cool because you can get some cool errors at very affordable prices because they are pretty common. There was not very good quality control at the mint in those years. So this is a key date, 1952 pyramid. Again, I'm going in reverse order. This 1963, I wrote proof-like on it just to remind me that it's just not a normal 1963. I don't necessarily think it would necessarily qualify as a proof-like coin if it was sent in, but you can see how the fields are pretty reflective for being a 20 centavo copper coin, because these are not known for their reflectivity, but this one does reflect pretty well, so that was kind of cool. Then I recently picked up this 1957, which is in really nice condition, 1956, and 1954. A series, I would say, these two coins here, the 10 pesos, especially the 92 to the 95, with the silver center, and the 20 centavos series from 1943 to 1973. These two coin designs are some of my favorite, probably my favorite coin designs in the 20th century or modern Mexican coinage. Here's a key date, Josefa, 1952. Here's a 1951. 1957, which is also a key date, kind of a sleeper coin. 1957, Juarez. Oddly enough, in coins and prices, for example, it'll say the key dates are 55 and 56. I don't remember what it says about the 57. I did end up getting a tube of 1957s, which is pretty special because 1959s are obviously the most common by far. I can get those fairly easily, but the 1957s are not that easy to get, or not that easy to come across. So I would rank them maybe not quite up there with definitely not with the 55s, but maybe up there, with the 56, or right behind it. But they're not that easy to get. And I got some tubes also. I have some tubes here of different 1 centavos. And what's cool about getting tubes, so here are 1950s. They all say Gem BU. They are very pretty. What's cool about getting tubes is that you kind of do coin roll hunting and just search for little things. And this one has a little error. I don't know how well it'll show up there on camera. A little clipped error of this coin. I found different errors on different coins by searching rolls like that. So it's just kind of a fun thing to do. It doesn't mean they're super valuable, but it is fun to search and discover. All right, we are almost done here. Speaking of error coins, here's an error coin right here. A 1985 10 peso off-center, definitely off-center. And technically, I don't know if this would be labeled as an off-center or just struck outside the collar, but a pretty cool coin. And a silver 5 peso, 1957, I believe this one is. Very pretty condition. I already had this one, but this one just caught my eye because of its luster, and I thought I'd upgrade. And finally, I don't know if I missed anything, but you're probably all falling asleep at this point. This has gone on pretty long, so I'll finish with this regardless of whether I skip something or not. These two coins, which are kind of siblings, they're both 1950 nickel coins, not silver. They're fairly common. But sorry, this one does have silver. I said they're not silver. This one does contain silver. But this one does not have silver. They're fairly common, but what's not common is to find them in really nice, brilliant, uncirculated condition. And I was able to find both of these. You can see the luster on them. They're both beautiful, beautiful coins. And so I definitely upgraded the coins I had. I mean, look at the luster on this one. That is fantastic. For being this coin, you can find this all day, in circulated condition or just very opaque. But this one has really, really nice, pretty luster to it, which is why I got it. So, all right, that I believe wraps up this series. I'll show you this one last time just because I like it so much, this toned 1978. But thanks for watching, and be sure and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Share it with a numismatic friend. Comment below if you enjoyed any of these coins, and we'll see you in the next one. I'll stay tuned for my Omsas series, but before I continue with my Omsas series, I will be uploading soon a unboxing overview of my NGC submission results, which I did get back. So again, thanks for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe, hit that bell icon if you haven't yet, and we'll see you in the next one.